That was a close one. For the camera at least. Today we're going to cut up some cedar for a customer that's using it for the inside of his house. We've already cut some of the cedar logs down, and we're going to get those up to the sawmill and cut them up into boards. He wants 10-inch wide boards, 5 foot minimum. Here's some of the logs we already cut. We need them to be at least 14 to 15 inches on the small end to be able to get the size boards that we need, but these are some pretty big logs. I think we got this one here's probably close to 18 inches on the small end of this big log, and then probably 15 on this smaller log, but we're going to take those up to the sawmill and get them cut up. Discuss something while you're watching here. These trees are eastern red cedar, and where I live, there's not a timber company around that will cut these trees for lumber. They won't take them. They leave them. The trees grow big. They get kind of doty in the middle, and it's hard to get good lumber out of them once they get too old because they start rotting in the middle. So these trees are basically have no value with the timber companies. But keep watching, and I'm gonna show you and tell you how much value we got out of them by cutting our own lumber. Now, timber companies over the years have kind of gotten a bad name, whether it's through their own fault or if it's a misplaced bad name. I don't know, but I think some practices that they've done in the past has been questionable with some people, and that kind of gives them a bad name. It's kind of like they have the name of somebody who takes advantage of grandma and takes her timber. We're not here to badmouth timber people or to praise anybody in the timber industry, but it is a very exclusive market. You can't just go out there and say, all right, what's the price of cedar? What's the price of white oak? What's the price? It's not a real advertised value. They kind of keep it to themselves because they want to be able to, I guess they don't want the public to know. Maybe this is conspiracy, but they don't want the public to know exactly how much they sell this lumber for. When they're buying the tree from a landowner and they're selling it for a lot more after they cut it up into lumber than what they paid the landowner. But so I don't know, it's not a readily available market where you can go say, okay, I got a white oak tree, how much is it worth? There's nowhere you can do that that I know of. Now this, as I said before, this tree had no value, but there is demand for eastern red cedar. There's none out there because nobody cuts it, but the demand is from the retail market. So we are able to sell this wood, this eastern red cedar, for $3 a board foot. And this guy that ordered this, I believe he ordered 1,500 board feet. So we were able to take these logs that were basically worthless and turn them into some valuable lumber, which brought in about $4,500. Now we did work over this over several months because we couldn't work on it every day, all day. But if we totaled up the time that it took for us to do this, it would probably be maybe three to 4 days worth of work for $4,500. That's not too bad. Now obviously we got tractor cost I'm not including the cost of blades. I'm not including any cost. I'm just telling you what we sold it for. We got chainsaws and tractors and blades and bought grapples, and we got dozers, and so none of that's factored into what I'm telling you. So obviously we're not making that much money, but we're making more than we were making because the tree had no value and they never did cut it. So you can make a good bit more than what the timber company's willing to give you on the trees that they will buy, and then you can go in there and cut the trees that they won't cut. It's not just cedar that they won't cut. They won't cut trees that maybe have a top broken out of it, or if they can't get top value for your tree, they're not going to cut it. So you can cut those kind of trees. You can cut the trees that have fallen down and that are rotting on the ground. You can cut those up in the boards if you catch it quick enough. So you can get a lot of value out of cutting your own trees. No, it is a lot of work. It's not anything that's easy. Just because you got a sawmill that'll turn logs for you, don't mean that it'll turn every log. Sometimes you got to turn the log. You got to hook the chains up. You got to, you got to use chainsaws to cut trees down, and you got to be able to work. So it's not something that's easy and it's for everybody. Obviously, if you're 85 years old, you can't cut your own lumber. You have to depend on somebody to find some honest timber guy to come and cut your timber for you. So it's obviously not for everybody, but if you're able and capable of working, and you can start out with a small sawmill and you have a small plot of land, you can cut your own trees and use it to build barns and save money that way, or you can sell it to people that are needing lumber. All the sales that I've made is on Facebook Marketplace so far. So it's just people responding to a ad on Facebook Marketplaces. That's as hard as the sales part is, but then when they buy it, you got to go to work and get it cut up for them. We got them loaded and ready to go.